Hey guys, my name is Matteo, and today, if you were not aware, the new Dragon's Teeth DLC weapons for Battlefield 4 are now available for testing on the CTE servers. DICE wanted us to try them out, give them a go, see what we think about them, and the first one that I immediately gravitated towards is the new MPX personal defense weapon. This gun is incredibly fun to use. It's crazy accurate, it's amazing, it's got some very unique properties, and so for today, I'm gonna delve on into why I'm loving this gun so much. I don't think it's overpowered, and that's good because we don't want overpowered weapons in DLCs, but I do think that it's going to be a great addition into the game. And so the MPX has pretty much the standard damage model, at least according to Simthic.com forums and my play session. It's going to do 27 damage per shot up close, which admittedly is a little bit higher than the standard 25 damage per shot that most weapons have right now in Battlefield 4, and then it's going to drop off to 13 damage at long range. It has a pretty fast RPM, and its RPM clocks in at 850, so it's going to do very well up close, but where it really excels is with its recoil pattern. It's got a vertical recoil of 0.36, which is awesome, and then a left kick of 0.3 and a right of 0.3. And so basically all you have to do, as long as your enemy is within close to medium range, so about 10 meters out to maybe 30 to 40 meters away, all you really have to do is point and click at them. Because the weapon is going to bounce evenly to the left and the right, there really isn't anything you have to do with there. So all you have to do with this gun is manage the vertical recoil, and because the vertical recoil is pretty low, I mean 0.36 isn't crazy high or crazy low by any means, I'd say it's about average. As long as you're able to compensate for that recoil, which is very, very easy, this thing is just laser beam-like accurate. And so you guys will notice throughout today's video, it seems like I'm not really having to compensate for a whole lot of recoil. It's going exactly where I want them to go, and that's just because the weapon is very easy to manage. The downside of it though, and where we're starting to run into some problems, is that it only has 26 rounds in its magazine. The way that DICE went about balancing out the weapon is that while it's very accurate, it has the standard damage model, a nice rounds per minute. If they made it so that it also had the same magazine size, it would be pushing this more into the overpowered category. And so it's going to have 26 rounds in its magazine. Not too crazy, it's only 5 less than the standard, so basically think of it more of a FAMAS. But it also has a really fast reload speed to compensate for it. It's got a short reload time of 2.1 seconds. That is blazing fast. Like, if you want to compare that to like the Battlefield 3 M16A3, which everyone raved about, it's pretty much comparable to that. Its long reload time is a little bit longer, but not too bad. Its long reload time is going to take you 2.7 seconds to go through the entire animation. And so overall, while it does have a little bit less magazine size compared to a lot of the other personal defense weapons out there, you can get right back into the action because it does have a blazing fast reload speed. And so in general, the MPX is just incredibly fun to use. Like, during my playtime on the CTE, I was having a blast. Like, I was going on these incredible kill streaks. You can hipfire people down. Oh, I should also mention this has an amazing hipfire accuracy, and I realize that most PDWs have an amazing hipfire accuracy, but you know, the MPX is right up there with all of the greats, like the MP7, the P90. I'd say it's pretty much on par with that. Maybe a little bit more spread than those, but like, because it's got a great RPM, because it's got a great damage model, like, you're going to be able to destroy people with your hipfire. The thing about it though, and something you are going to have to work around, is that even though it does have an amazing recoil pattern and it's very accurate, it's still not great at a distance. It only has a bullet velocity of 340, which is very slow. Like, all the PDWs don't have a great bullet velocity, but this is on the low end. And it also has an abysmal damage model at a distance. Like, doing 13 damage per shot at around 50 meters is going to take you a very long time to take out those people. And so really, you're just going to have to use this as a standard PDW. Like, personal defense weapons, all of them are not good at a distance. I mean, maybe you could make the argument that the PP2000 is okay at a distance because it's probably one of the most accurate weapons in the game. Like, I would say the MPX is a close second to the PP2000, so if you like that gun, you're probably going to like this. But even still, the personal defense weapons are not good at a distance. You're going to want to use the environment to your advantage to close the gap. You're going to want to get up close and personal. Granted, once you do close the gap, you're going to destroy your enemy, but this just simply is not a gun you're going to want to use at a distance. Another thing you're going to have to work around, and we've already touched upon this a little bit, is that because it only has 26 rounds in its magazine, 5 less than the standard 31, you need to be pretty conservative with your shots. Granted, if you go through your entire mag, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, this does have a very fast reload speed, and so you will be able to go right back into the action quickly, but if you round the corner and you see 3 enemies that have their back to you, you need to be very consistent with your shots. Like 5 less rounds, like if you had 5 more rounds in your magazine, that could potentially mean 1 more kill for you. And so if you round the corner, you see 3 or 4 people, you need to make sure that all of your shots are counting, because if you don't, you're not probably going to come out of that firefight alive, compared to if you were using, let's say, something like the CZ3A1 or another PDW that has a higher magazine size. It would give you a little bit more room for air. And so because of this, the MPX requires a little bit more thought process on the part of the player that's using it. You need to make sure that if you're going to take someone out, that you have a couple extra rounds left in your magazine, so that if another guy rounds the corner, you have the rounds to take him out. It's not necessarily the hardest thing to do. Like 5 extra rounds isn't crazy. Like this isn't something like the AS Val that only has 21 rounds in his magazine. That is definitely a gun that you have to be very consistent with all of your shots, but it's still something that you do need to take into consideration. The attachments that I was running, and I have a feeling that most people are going to gravitate on towards when they use the MPX, is the ergo grip with the laser sights. I didn't feel a need to use a barrel attachment. You could slap on the heavy barrel. I know that some people in the chat when I was playing, they were saying that the heavy barrel on this was great because it's already amazingly accurate, and slapping on the heavy barrel doesn't really do a whole lot to its recoil, and so it just makes it a little bit better at a distance. But because the gun is a PDW, I just felt like the heavy barrel didn't really add a whole lot to it. Like the recoil pattern wasn't that bad when you slapped it on, but I just felt that because this is a gun that you're not supposed to use at long range, it just wasn't the attachment for it. The one barrel attachment though that I could see being popular is the suppressor. I mean, because this only has 26 rounds, there are going to be some times where you just simply have to reload and you don't want to switch on over to your secondary weapon to take someone out, and because you can then ghost around your enemy, kind of picking them off, it makes it so that you don't really have to take everyone out when you enter a room. Like they won't necessarily know you're there, and so if you're only able to take out 2 people because of the shorter magazine, you can then go behind cover, reload, the enemies around them won't actually know exactly where you are, and then you can duck out and take them out. So the suppressor is another solid choice. As for the underbarrels, really the ergo grip is the only one you're going to want to choose. Like maybe if you want to mix and match, maybe if you don't like hip firing people down, maybe if you don't like to have an increased accuracy while on the move, then you could try out the angle grip or the stubby to just increase your overall accuracy. But because this already is amazingly accurate, it already doesn't have a crazy amount of recoil, I just felt like the ergo grip is the best way to handle things. But overall, I am loving the MPX, and I think that DICE hit the sweet spot with it. They may change it. This is a test server, and it is a test server for a reason, so they may change some things before the game launches. But in my opinion, I think it's perfect. It's got some great attributes to it. It's very accurate, but at the same time, it's not overpowered, at least in my mind. It brings a nice flair to the game. I think it's a unique PDW, and I think it's just a great addition to the game. But I'd love to know what you think about the gun. Do you like it? Have you had a chance to play with it on the CTE? Would you change some things with it? Let me know down below. But until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.